Hello and good evening. Welcome once again, for the first time in a fair old time, to Chalice, Twilight Roads on the initiative order. We are back, and I'm very, very sorry for these guys, for all of you, and most importantly for myself, because that's how we do things here. Well, it's been a fair old time, and we're coming back now to a slightly smaller cast, as you may notice. Now, that isn't because we've killed half of the people off, as much as I would like that to be the case, but we're going to be doing things slightly differently this time. We'll have two groups, as one slowly follows the other. Before we do anything else, let's see if we can have our erstwhile cast remember who they are and why they're here, other than contractual obligation. First and foremost, because they look the most nervous, I'm going with Max.
Oh, yay! Hi, guys. I am Max. I play Jules. I haven't done her accent in a long time, so be prepared.
Fair. I mean, it can't be any worse than my interpretation of your accent.
Ooh.
There we go. There was a nice little pause there.
That was a fun session, though.
Holly.
Oh, wow. Hi. Why did my voice go weird then? I'm Holly. I wasn't in the last episode because I was brutally murdered off. I'm Holly. I play a new character this time round. She's called Violet. I don't know.
Violet.
I'm half expecting that to happen at some point. But yeah, this is going to be fun. New character, not as stabby, and hopefully won't die as quickly or as much. So.
I mean, technically, if you get suffocated, you do start to turn a lovely shade of violet.
Thanks for spoiling how I go out in this, Ben.
Oh my God,
Damn.
Benjamin.
Foreshadowing. Oh.
Speaking of foreshadowing, Billy.
Oh, hello.
Who are you?
Who am I? Let's not go there right now, Ben. But I am playing Subil tonight. Luckily, he's survived since last season.
He should be dead. I don't know how he lasted this long.
Really should be. And I think it's probably going to be fairly soon. But it'll be fun to watch for some.
Again, I'm going to enjoy it. Well,
So mean to us.
and of course, last and least, we have myself. I'm Ben. I'll be running the game for these poor idiots. And I don't know, it's an act of self-flagellation, I suppose. The only last thing to note before we go into our intro and dump everyone back in the wonderfully happy world of Chalice is there is a slight change in how we're playing as much as who we're playing with, that we have changed our system. We are no longer using our kind of messily homebrewed version of Actum Cthulhu. We are jumping over to the world of Weird. And of course, through the breach.
It is very.
But we're hoping it's going to give these guys a little bit more control over what happens to them, around them, and to everyone they care for. Not that they have many of those left.
Wait, we're supposed to have people we care for in this? I just thought we were not doing that.
Care?
What is this word?
I've got none of them left. You killed them all, Ben.
I try. And on that, can we run the intro, please? Hello. Hi there, welcome back. Hope you enjoyed the wonderful new intro put together by the Initiative Order's very own founder, Danny, the man who's now going to be sitting here judging us and occasionally doing things in the background when we ask very nicely. This would normally be the moment where I turn back to our party and ask them for what exactly happened last time. I can't do that fully, because one of the people that these players represent is dead. Quite dramatically so.
I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you mean.
Nice.
So, what I am going to ask for those of us at home who may need a very short recap, I'm going to ask either Jules or Subil to offer a recap of last season.
The whole of the season? You're joking!
As if you were running it through your own head.
Oh.
I'm glad I died now. This is
Well,
great.
Sybil's is much longer.
Yeah.
In which case, Jules, you've just volunteered yourself.
Oh, okay.
So,
Shit.
allow me to set the scene for you slightly, and we can pass over your reminiscence. We sit, or more precisely, Subil and Jules. It has been 3 days since Sav's hurt. 3 long days. Possibly more. You're not sure anymore. Sleep is a fading illusion, and the last at least several hours you've been sat in a small, cramped room alone. Each of you running through the events of the last week, at most, in your head.
Okay. What happened was, may I? Do I go
course.
now?
Of course. As you sit looking out of the nearby porthole, you can see stars in the distant night sky, wispy clouds intermingling between them, and the soft rocking of the ferry. His name you've never really bothered to learn. You haven't had time. And your mind flits back.
Am I going to have to get my old notes? So, my character, Jules, she was working at a pub. She bumped into some nice people that seemed to be wanted, but I just wanted to help them out. Next thing I know, there's a bar fight. Someone's stolen a child. I end up helping them all to steal this child back. Some people go missing. It was all quite hazy. I wasn't really sure. And then on the camp back to Southhurt, right, I believe. The camp back to Southhurt, I got to get to know a group of people trying to help this kid and some others move their way to the South Docks to basically get them off the map. To Dagos, that's correct. Thank you, Ben. To Dagos, but it is in the south. I know that for sure.
You are correct.
Because if in doubt, go south. Yeah, so we make our way to Southhurt after getting to know each other. Shit hits the fan. Alien monster things start following us and creep out Subil with some hands. I have no idea what the fuck's going on. I have literally no idea. The kid gets stolen. Someone turns him into a fucking werewolf. I end up getting on a boat. I don't know how I got arrested and put on a boat. People died in front of me and came back to life. No one's told me shit. What's going on? Not even like the people in charge. No one took me out the cell. I was stuck in there the whole time. No one's telling me stuff. People just keep dying. I don't know what I'm doing. And then the kid gets stolen again, and then we have to try to help the kid by breaking into this warehouse. We burn the warehouse down. and we kill like 5 guys. And people just keep dying. And then we make our way to the docks, we leave. Subil comes back with like a mental breakdown because his bird died. I'm so confused. And like the people that were helping us out the whole time, they seem like really chill guys. Most of them died saving us. What am I doing?
I can't tell if this is Max or Jules.
I don't know.
I think they both just had a mental breakdown remembering the trauma that we went through the season one.
I've just seen when
It
Max
dawned
and
on you.
Jules like blur together.
And it's with that thought that, Jules, you find yourself sat, then stood, roaming angrily around the very small room you've been given to you, constantly gripping bare knuckle the revolver that still sits on your side, spitting these ideas out, allowing them to just tumble around in your head. This image of an iron mask still emblazed in the back of your head, and the crystal blue eyes that sat behind them, and the tears that were in them the last time you saw them. Outside, on the upper deck, Subil. You sit on a small barrel. Its top just covered with a small rug. In the near distance, just stood on the side of the ship, looking up, their hands wrapped around one of the just wrapped around the kind of shallow wall that runs along the external edge of the ship. You see Sam, as they just stare up at the stars themselves. A small blanket wrapped over their shoulders, and a little wooden owl in their hand that's been given to them by one of the crew. Crew being a small number of men and women, no more than 3, that you have briefly met through your time. Captain Lou Lutegard de Lorand. It's hard to say who or what they may have been before this, mostly because talking to them is a test in understanding imperceptible accents. Their words just kind of slur into the next, and yet you've never seen them with a drink in their hand. They very rarely leave the wheelhouse, however. There are 2 others that roam around the ships. Gianmarco, a young man who kind of keeps himself as busy as possible, darting around here and there, tends to dote on the child quite a bit. It's the one who gave him the small owl. And finally a young lass by the name of Pile, who tends to be the closest thing you have to a chef on board. Even that's a remarkably generous statement, however. From your position, you can also hear, just around the corner on the deck, just out of view, Max and Eli. You can hear the slight movement of wooden pieces on a board as the 2 of them play a game, trying their best to keep themselves to themselves. You've barely said 2 words to them since you stepped foot on the ship. You haven't really known what to say. And of course, apart from Jules, who you know is currently sat stewing in the room she's been given, there is Juliana, who also you haven't seen much of since you stepped foot on board. She went into another small room, taken there directly by Lutgard. And apart from a few muttered words through the door to get food or water, she hasn't wanted to see any of you. And as you sit there on the deck, the cool night's breeze running over your skin, a slight whistle to your ear as it passes over the small pieces of obsidian that now line your jawline and retreat up, disappearing into the shaggy mass of hair that tumbles down from your head. You continue to also ruminate on the last week, 2 weeks, months that you've been traveling. Sam is nearby. He's spoken recently. They're jumbled words as if someone remembering how to talk. But he speaks. And it's at that point I hand it to yourself. Subil. What do you do?
You mentioned Sam is looking at the sky at the moment, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And is it a nighttime, could I ask?
Yes, it's quite early evening at this moment.
In which case, considering that Sybil's been pondering for the last 3 days, I think he needs to escape from his brain a little bit. And so he's going to kneel down next to Sam.
Yeah.
Excuse me. He's going to kneel down next to Sam, and he's just going to look up at the sky at the same time. Just look at Sam and sort of say, Can you spot any shapes in the sky with the stars between?
And it looks over at you with the same kind of large brown eyes and up at the sky. You can see him just kind of start tracing his finger around. Sorry, this seems to be kind of a renewed vigor to him since you stepped foot on the boat. Whereas previously he was always quite frail, quite weak. He now moves with kind of deft confidence. His hand just traces small signs out in the air. And kind of makes a... Yes, there's a sword.
A sword? There.
Like Eddie's.
Yeah, it is like Eddie's, isn't it?
Where is Eddie?
Sam, Eddie isn't coming with us. She wanted to. She did. She really did. She wouldn't just leave you behind. You need to know that. But she's not coming back. Not this time.
Kind of just his eyes lock into yours for a moment. You can see him just kind of chewing over the sentence. Jack?
I don't know, Sam. Jack is literally made of rock. So if anyone's gonna be
hard.
Yeah,
tough.
He is. So I think we'll see him again. But I don't know.
Woof. What?
Bismarck.
Bismarck and
Cecily. I don't know, Sam. I don't know. We
He kind of looks out as he sees you. He just reaches out and puts his hand on yours. It's okay.
Do I feel anything from the touch?
From his touch, no.
Interesting.
You do feel, just in the back of your mind.
I'm going to pull my hand away.
He kind of, as you jerk your hand away, just looks to them. s-
Sorry, Sam.
just
Sorry.
signs. I'm sorry.
It's not you. It's not you. It's me. It's okay. Why don't you go and see if Jules is all right? See if she needs any help with anything.
He points over at where Max and Eli are. They miss Kurt. Play game with them.
Go and see if they want to. I think they'll like you.
No. You.
Oh, I don't know if they want me around at the moment.
Family strongest when together, not apart. He just kind of pats his hand on the desk, on the side of the ship. Family. It gives you a small smile, grips his little owl, and just kind of walks past, heading to the small door that leads below deck.
Good lad. I think Sybil's just going to have a think for a while, as he always does.
You just lean on the side of the deck, I assume, and kind of look out onto the ocean. You can see from where you are off, as the kind of curve of the water follows, you can still see kind of off towards the, I don't remember what way you're heading, southwest. You can still see the Tower of Faith in the center of Chalice at a distance, it being kind of visible no matter where you are in the country normally, as it towers up at an eccentric rate. You can still see the edges of the mountains off to the east. And you know that about a day or so away lies the shores of Morristown, where you're heading. And you just kind of watch the water glistening with the starlight, as you just see stars, all just reflected, just slowly blipping out, one by one.
As in the stars are going out?
You see the stars going out.
In the sky, or just the reflection?
Off of the reflection. You stare at that, glance back up, and the stars are still there.
There's
looking back down at the water.
I'm going to run over to the captain. Captain Lutgard?
Lutgard?
Lutgard.
Yeah.
I'm going to jog up to the wheelhouse. Captain, there aren't any... how do I put this? Creatures of the deep in this part of the Chalice, are there?
You kind of swing the door open to see him just kind of leaning on the wheel. Is kind of old Russ at this point, quite just a stout person. You've got this thick greatcoat running over them, even in the kind of hottest of days. A thick scarf that rides up, really just revealing this bitter, scouring glare that looks out of it at all times. One eye just seemingly permanently squinted, and the other quite wide and slightly erratically darting around. His hair mousy and kind of wiry, hidden behind this big bat trawler's hat. And it looks over to you as you burst in, looking out over the sea, the water himself. Here we on!
Creatures of the deep. There's not anything.
Hey, no creature D.I.A. You're even murrin'.
You never seen any?
Yeah, fuck out!
Hey, just trying to watch out for your ferry mate.
I'm not very. My Chinese.
Close the door and I'll run back over to the side of the rail that I was having a look at and see if there's still things disappearing for whatever reason.
You rush back down the ship, kind of pass by both Eli and Max as you see them in the near distance, kind of half glancing at you as you move around the ship at such a speed. Rush over, grip your hands onto the side of the ship and look over, and all of the stars are reflected there perfectly.
Hmm.
And as you kind of just continue to peer, the light of the ship around you just casts your reflection on the water.
I'm stepping back.
As
I'm
you
stepping back.
get the briefest glimpse of yourself smiling backwards.
And away from all reflections, and I'm going to go inside, down in the deck, think over whatever that might have been.
You take a few steps away, turn in place, and see a porthole and the mirrored window there. Turn again into the large ship door that leads downstairs and see again a piece of glass between you and it. And just every way you turn, that you catch your own you catch a glimpse of your own reflection. You're always there, smiling back. You just swing the door open and start marching downstairs.
Mm-hmm. Head down, eyes down.
Mm-hmm. You start reaching down, kind of down there. Almost at the same time, Jules, there's a small rap on your door, just a...
As I'm thinking all of this, you can hear kind of scuffles from outside.
Mm-hmm.
And then from the knock, you hear, "Why?"
It's very low, childlike voice on the other side. Just sorry.
And then you hear, "Oh, opens the door. Oh, there. Sam, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you need anything? You all right?
Are you? Your eyes are red.
Yeah, allergies. Yeah, allergies. I'm not used to boats.
You can be allergic to boats.
Yes. Luckily, though, I have a mild allergy. It's fine. It's fine. Nothing like...
Sicily could look out for that for you.
Right. Sicily will. Has no one...
It's okay. I know that they're they're back there, but it's okay. We'll see them again. I wanted to make sure you're okay. I wanted to
Well, that's mighty kind.
look after you. And if I can't, kind of reaches in under the blanket and goes, Owl can.
Owl? Well, is that the name? That's a bit of a bad name. I'd given it something like Terry or Tim. I don't know. Tulip. Tulip. C.
Terry wouldn't work because he's part of the crew, and Terry is a bad crew name.
Yes.
Tulip.
Tulip. What a lovely name. Tulip. Honestly, Sam, I'm gonna be honest here. I'm not doing well. I'm really not. But that is okay. And she just starts building up tears in her eyes. That's okay. You're allowed to. And she'll just start silently sobbing.
He steps forward and hugs you. He just kind of wraps his arms around your waist.
I start bawling even more. But like quietly as possible.
So roughly this time, as you kind of just have Sam's head nestled into your stomach and just kind of gripping you very tightly, and feel the kind of the pressure of this little wooden owl pushing into your back from where his hand's still holding it. And you just hear the soft footsteps of Subil coming down the corridor.
Right, I had to take off Sam. Yeah. Right, nothing like a good hug, I'd say. Now, get you up to the deck and see what Max and Eli are doing. And save them if you can. That'd be great.
I'll go and look after them.
Right, you are.
At that point, he just holds Tulip up again. Can you look after her?
Well, sure. I'll take Tulip.
Thank you. And he just takes off. Kind of
So what
rushes
is
past
Tulip?
Subil.
A small owl?
Yeah, about yay big. Just a small carved wooden owl.
Duly noted.
And as Sam kind of rushes off, passes by yourself, Subil, and almost without meaning to, as he passes you, your left hand just reaches out. And you just kind of catch the back of the blanket as they nip past you. You only really notice it because of the sensation of the cloth on your fingers.
I put my hands in my pockets. Do I have pockets?
Why not?
Just got to check in Chalice. Pockets in Chalice. Love it. I'm going to put my hands in my pockets, just subtly.
Do so, and of course, the two of you now stand just with the door to your room open, sight there, Jules. And just very aware of each other's presence. You know, a few doors down, Juliana's kind of lurking around. You haven't seen much of her in the last couple of days. And coming from kind of further down the corridor, you think around the corner, possibly the next deck down, you can hear just a quiet whistling, which you assume to be one of the crew.
I will take a moment to compose myself. And you said Subil was coming my way?
Yeah. Kind of hands shoved in pockets at this point. His room is the one just next to yours on the other side.
I'm gonna, as he walks past, kind of step in front of him, I'll be like, Subil, right.
Jules, you alright?
Yeah, I want to talk to you about something. I know I'm the new person or whatever, but I wanted to ask, is this if it's gonna be like this, I don't know if I'm ready. This is a lot. And I've only just got here. I'll do my best, but I never want to do that again. That was needless.
It's going to be a tough road, Jules. And I really, really, really wish that I could say it's going to get easier, or that we've gone past gone past the hard bit. But I got a feeling that we've got a lot to see yet. And I also really, really wish that I could go back and we could skip the tavern and that you could still be in the bar with...
No, I'm here now. I coulda, woulda, shoulda done many things, but I'm here now. So, what is the price of our package? How much is that kid worth? Because some people are after him, and they're killing. So it must be something.
I have no idea. It started as any other contact, it started as any other job. And, well, I say somewhere down the road, but quite early down the road, it all pretty much literally blew up in our faces. And it's just gotten weirder and bigger and crazier and deeper since. So I really, really wish that I could give you an answer, but honestly, I don't think any of us really know. I don't think even he does. So we'll find out, I guess.
I'll keep going because you've got no one else. But I don't know if I want to take Eli and Max. They're not worth it.
Quite honestly, Jules, I don't really know where we're taking them. I don't really know where we're going. I mean, the plan isn't really the plan anymore. It was just a way forward. It was just a thing that we could say so that we had a direction, but I don't think we were ever going to make it to Dagos. I mean, not in the state that we have, so if they've got a better plan, or if they want to go their own way, I truly wish them the best of luck, but I think we're all kind of equally as lost at this point.
Right then. Into the breach.
Yep, I suppose we're going to be going on an adventure, but I'm glad you're here, Jules.
Speak now. Yeah,
Let's hope.
I don't know if I'm glad you're here, Subil, because I'm going to be honest, you've just given me nothing but fear. I'm not gonna lie.
harmless. Look at me. I'm just a frail,
You had a
skinny,
mental
lanky
breakdown
man.
over a bird.
It was a very nice bird, okay? It wasn't about the bird. Don't mention pending. Sorry. It's just fresh, you know?
I mean, my lifelong family friend died. And I'm still going.
Yeah.
So don't give a fuck about your bird, Subil.
You can hear the whistling growing closer, by the way.
Do you hear the whistling? Who's down deck?
Probably some crewmate. How many crewmates are there?
Well, there's the captain, and then there's the cook.
There's no. I thought it was just the captain.
No, there's the captain, the cook, and the other one.
We have 3?
Yeah. Have you not met anyone on this ship?
I've been stuck in my room for 2 weeks crying about how many people we've killed.
Do you think you were crying because you were stuck in your room?
The whistling kind of grows to a point where you're fairly aware it's just down the corridor, and there were footsteps that kind of just slowly stopped as your voices continue to raise.
Well, may I say, if it was a crewmate, he would have kept whistling and walked past us. Annoyingly, that stopped whistling, and they've gone silent.
Sorry about that. You hear just from kind of down the corridor and just poking their head around the corner. This fairly young girl, you'd say, probably around the age of 16, 17 at most. This shock of kind of red hair, it's everywhere on top of her head and tied into this really messy braid that kind of trails down her side and is actually wrapped into her belt. Around that, there's a small apron that kind of hangs quite loosely off with a number of cook's tools in there. Hot stains that you're fairly sure have existed for longer than she possibly has cover the apron. And she just kind of waves a little bit awkwardly down the corridor and just kind of walks over to you.
The cook is the cook. I've never met any of these people.
You're such socially inept fucking
Well,
barman.
I am. Once I go through a great
meant to be good at social
depression.
skills.
Like most of my the person that I really love
She's
died.
coming. She can hear you. Hi.
Ah,
Sorry.
Are you two okay?
no.
Nah, it's been a long. We don't mean to be rude. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Don't care. I don't rightly care.
Yeah.
Pile,
Sorry, what?
my name,
Yeah, it is.
Pile.
Pele!
Belay,
Give
lovely
you
to
the
meet you.
toughest handshake.
Her entire
Um,
arm just kind of goes like spaghetti in your hand.
Mhm.
Lovely
Just
to
give a
meet you.
salute.
Lovely to meet you. Wow, you have luscious hair. Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
That's what salt water does to it, am I right?
Yeah, yeah. I'm actually here to ask you, both of you a favor.
Oh yeah.
I
How can
don't
we help?
cook. I'm not very good.
Oh no,
You're a
don't worry. Neither can I.
Yeah, I
Um,
like snacks, like do peanuts. That's the best I do. Sorry, go on.
No, it's actually about that. We've been having.
Peanuts, salted, preferably.
I mean, I'd love to, but again, kind of why I'm here. Something's been getting into our food, and I just wanted to check that neither of you or your little one had been in the pantry, as it were.
What type of food?
Well, nuts, some crackers, biscuits, a little bit of salted pork, little bits and pieces here and there.
Are they like bites like mice, or are they?
You see, that's what I'm trying to rule out. And if it wasn't any of you lot, or the two strapping young lads upstairs, or of course Miss Juliana, possibly. In which case, the captain, Lou, he's just asked if I might borrow the two of you to have a little check around downstairs, see if we can't
Sure.
find nothing. I'd asked
Sure.
Gianmarco, but he told me to go fuck myself. So let's
That's
not do
fair.
that again.
That's fair.
I
I've been
see.
there.
Yeah, we've all been there. Yeah.
Well, yeah, if you don't mind, I mean, if we find anything, of course, I'm not too good with rats, so I'd be somewhat relying on the two of you for that.
I'm
We have
useless, but
loads, absolutely loads of rats in my pub.
just grab your revolver. I think that'd be handy. Let's go and have a look.
Oh,
Right.
I might not do that. The captain's. I'm assuming at this point you two just kind of start walking.
Yeah, we just keep walking.
Yeah, we're walking.
The
chatting.
captain's rather particular about putting holes in his boat. As she just kind of follows along after you.
It has 10 points if I get a headshot.
Meanwhile, far, far, far below deck, sat behind a series of crates and supplies that have been kind of very meticulously arranged to block line of sight to anyone who was to happen to step into the ballast chambers. We find Violet sat kind of nestled in with a series of small blankets and other bits and pieces from your traveling pack arranged around in the closest thing you can to your own little messy bedroom. It's been an interesting few days since you stowed away after the fire started in Southhurt, deciding to make as quick of an escape as you physically could after you saw the Protectorate, Wardens, and Inquisition rampaging through the streets with not just the fire of the city reflected in their eyes, but a distinct anger and purpose. You knew that rumor was there were some dangerous criminals floating around town. Murderers, arsonists, kidnappers, all the various phrases you've seen on the various wanted posters popped around the area. So you took the quickest exit you could and just jumped on a ship as it prepared to leave. Over the last few days, you've been keeping yourself fed by just kind of helping yourself when needed, borrowing bits and pieces from the pantry, a handful of nuts here, a cut of pork there, whatever you needed, frankly.
Yeah, I'm back at some point, it's fine.
Yeah.
Just give the money back.
It's not been comfortable. The ship is quite lurchy is the only word that really comes to mind, no matter how incorrect it is. But, such is the life of a traveling musician, is what you keep telling yourself. your instrument just kind of still locked in this little box to the side, trying your best to keep the dust and the crap out of there just in case. I mean, that's more important than most of everything else you carry. After all, it's how you make your money. The only thing that's been throwing you off slightly is when you kind of venture above, out of your little area, is every now and then you've just kind of seen something out the corner of your eye, so you're not entirely sure is actually there. You've kind of written it off up until this point. Fairly certain it's probably just someone on the ship who also doesn't particularly want to be seen. Maybe a crew member, maybe one of the passengers you've seen kind of flitting around. It's definitely not a child, you know that much. They seem quite friendly from the brief glimpses you've heard and kind of snippets of conversation you've kind of picked up on at a distance. But so far, for fairly obvious reasons, you haven't tried to introduce yourself to anyone, as you're 100% not meant to be here.
Oh well, I'm here now anyway.
Which I think brings me just to ask, Violet, what would you like to do?
I'm probably gonna stay in kind of like my little kind of home room that I've kind of just made for myself. Maybe like try to make myself as small as I can. I'll stretch later on. It's fine. Everyone gets back issues. It's normal. I'm probably just wait until I kind of think it's late enough to kind of go adventure, and just probably just keep sat there at the moment, counting whatever it is I find. I think currently I'm counting how many spiders I see running across like the floor. So far I'm on 27, and that was in the last 10 minutes. So this is fun. It's a great game.
Yeah.
Love it.
Keeps yourself active.
Somewhat.
Yeah. And as you kind of just sat there watching the next lot go by, you're trying to determine if the one with 7 legs and the spots is the same one you saw 10 minutes ago that had 8 legs and spots, and you may have dropped something. You're not sure yet.
Who knows?
But as you kind of sat there just watching, you hear just footsteps creaking on the deck, the floorboards above. Just the next floor up, and you can hear kind of muffled voices, one fairly... an incredibly strong Yoon accent. One that it's difficult to kind of not hear and not immediately know where they come from. The accent being clearly the defining feature of the area. As well as another kind of more pleading voice asking for things to stop, and then the slight whispers of something else in the background.
Okay.
You can just hear them kind of creaking on the floorboards above you, but not down here yet. Can I ask everyone to draw 3 cards from your twisted deck, please?
Ooh, exciting.
Do I shuffle them first?
Ooh.
Yes.
Shuffle first. This is my moment. This is my moment.
Show us a magic trick, Billy.
Go on, Billy.
No pressure.
With my tricks or with my fates?
Trick. Do us a trick.
Let's choose my first card. Oh. I can't do it with 13 cards. Let's do it like this. What? I missed.
Our magician, ladies and gentlemen.
Don't worry. It was the 3 of hearts.
Hey. Well done.
Moving on.
Why look at these cards?
You do indeed. They're yours to play with as you need. Okay. Everyone drawn up?
Yep.
Everyone disappointed?
Oh, yeah.
Good.
No.
That's what I like to hear. Okay. In which case, we come to the first flip of the game. And this is wholly down to Violet.
Oh no! Why?
Yes.
Why are you like this?
It's fun for me.
You were so mean. Why did I come back?
It's like I said, contractual obligation.
Yeah, that's fine.
This contract I've just decided you have. Can
Sign of
you
blood.
make me a stealth check, please?
Stealth check, yeah.
See how well you hid yourself on that ship.
I don't have stealth, so what?
That's going to be a cunning check then, please.
Oof, okay, this is going to go badly.
I'll allow you a bonus flip, seeing as you've been there a while. So flip 2, take your highest.
I flipped 2. One was the 2 of rams, and one is a 12 of crows. So I'm gonna go with the 12 of crows.
I would. I really would.
And then but then it's -2 to that. 'Cause my cunning is take away 2, so it's 10.
Okay.
Still higher than what it would have been.
Okay, well, you have determined the difficulty of these fine folk to actually find you.
You're welcome.
You kind of, upon hearing the footsteps coming down, to pull yourself into a little ball to make yourself as small as physically possible
I will,
behind those crates.
Pull the instrument case into the bowl as well. That thing is a part of me, and it's staying with me. Because I know how hard it is to replace an instrument in real life, and I can't imagine how hard it is to replace it in Chalice. So,
Not the easiest thing in the world, not a good one anyway. You, as I say, you know full well that anyone stepping into this area is going to enter a maze of various boxes and barrels and tarps and more. It gives you some time to move around if you feel you need to. So at any time, I'm going to allow you to re-check for stealth, so you can try again if you think they might be getting a bit too close.
Okay.
As again, you kind of pull yourself into the ball, you can hear those footsteps growing closer, and they start clipping down a few stairs. And as you hear that kind of coming down, you hear the voices once again. Just again, please, no gunshots, not down here. If you put a hole down here, we're going to have a big fucking problem.
Well, they're really good at getting rats. I don't know what else to say.
Just sew a boots.
How about Pele? Could you get me a knife, please, hon?
She just kind of reaches into her belt and pulls out this large chef's knife. That
Perfect.
Yeah, almost
A
you hear it
butcher's
go-
knife.
Exactly.
A butcher's knife. That's real good. I used to have one of these back in my old place. They were really nice.
Yeah, I mean,
I wasn't a good cook though.
You must sneak up on the rats with a knife, and how fast are you?
Have you played Whack-A-Mole?
No.
It's this carnival game that I've seen that come through, and apparently you have to hit these moles as fast as you can. I'm pretty good, not gonna lie. Got a high score in my town.
Let's play Whack-A-Rat, I suppose, then.
Splat the rat. How about that?
Rat. Ooh. No, that sounds messy.
she Pele looks over at yourself, Sybil. Do you need anything?
He will
I
need
got
a
another
rolling
knife.
pin.
I got a rolling pin. I got a tenderizer, but in fairness, that's probably what I'd use if they got too close.
I think I'll point and direct.
Management, got it.
Yeah.
I can.
You feel her opinion of you just slightly decrease.
Hey man, look, you guys wanted to scrabble around for rats. I'm here to see if it's something other than a rat. And if you got rats, then you got rats, you know?
It's your fruit too, Sybil.
It's your boat.
I mean, we ain't charging you, so.
That's true. Hand me a rolling pin.
She just pulls one out and hands it over to you. There's still a kind of
Right,
smatter of
let's do
flour on
this.
it. You kind of, at that point, you've come to the end of the stairwell and you're just looking down into a slight, kind of small descent that leads into the ballast chamber itself. It's actually quite large. This ferry is actually meant to carry about 100 people. So the fact that it's even being run by Free is impressive. You can still hear kind of through the walls the low chug of the steam engine in the background, just keeping it propelled throughout. So it's actually quite warm down here. There are dozens, if not hundreds, of crates down here. Could be anything in them, you daren't ask. But in a couple, you can see that the box has been broken open, and you can see just food that's kind of fallen out and just scattered on the floor slightly.
Well, here's your problem. You've been storing stuff on the floor.
That's what I was thinking.
Look, we don't normally
You're
get
supposed to have 6 sides to it.
Like, I know, but let's just say that we don't have the crew we would normally have.
That's true. That's true. You are doing well.
Says as you kind of just step down into it. On the far end of the ballast deck, of course, Violet, you can hear the voices just growing closer and closer. As you hear one of them going, well, I'll tell you what, you two go left, you go right, and I'll just head down the middle. If you see anything, just give a shout.
If you get a rat, that is 5 points. Anything bigger than a rat, like a cat or a dog, don't kill it. Might be good for food, so...
Oh, we don't eat dogs or cats.
How long are we at sea?
Like another day.
No one told me this. Guys, why don't people tell me this?
You've been in your room for 3 days.
Yeah, no, that one's my fault. You are right.
Let's bash some rats.
Yeah, right. Jules is walking around like a crab with a a kitchen knife like this above her head. A full-on butcher's knife at any point ready to cut a rat.
Subil thinks that being lower to the ground is better to find rats, so he's just crouching with the
I
most
feel like
insane
Sybil's more
squat.
like a sniffer dog, so he's like...
Yeah, he's down, he's having a look, he's looking for all the signs, he's keeping an eye.
It's the two of you crab walk and rat crawl away, both. You're aware of just Pele kind of stood in the middle, standing there, just kind of just spinning this tenderizer in hand, going, these guys are really weird. And just starts walking down.
Heard that?
Can I ask both of you? We'll start with the wonderful Jules to make a notice check for me.
A notice check.
Cunning if you don't have it.
I have a little bit of notice, so let's see.
Okay.
Roll the dice. 8 plus 3, so 11.
Okay. You'd start kind of scouting down. You find a couple more open crates, including one that's a barrel full of water, which has been, it's had the kind of lid ripped off, and there's a mug kind of just sat next to it that's been knocked over, and you can still see a couple of drops of water falling off.
I'm gonna yell.
Whatever's...
Right, we got someone staying here. We're looking for something bigger than a rat and bigger than a dog. I'm talking a human being.
That is bigger than a rat.
And a
And
dog.
a dog. Most dogs. Are they still in here? Do you know?
Well,
Do you know?
I don't see why they would have left. There's nowhere else to go.
Oh, great.
Pele, get the door!
Make me let's see, social skills. Make me a leadership check, which is charm, if you don't have it.
That's 13 plus, so it's leadership. I do not, but I have charm, which is plus 2. That's 15.
You just hear a scampering from the middle as Pele goes, yes, sir! And just turns and just start charging up. You can hear her kind of rushing along to charge up the stairs and lock the door out of the room.
Guys, if there's a guy in here, I'm not feeling as confident with my rolling pin.
We are very dangerous.
I have more than a rolling pin.
I have a machete.
So do I.
On the far end of the room, Violet, you hear these people approaching, you hear their footsteps slowly building, and then, of course, the voices that intermingle with everything else and bellow around the room as they just get louder and louder. You hear everything that has just been said.
Yeah.
As you kind of just sit at the end and know probably shouldn't have left that mug of water out.
Yeah. I'm also going to try to hold in a laugh, to be fair. Someone just sat there just like trying to figure out if I should stay put for a minute, while also trying to make sure I don't laugh, because it's very funny hearing them say they don't have weapons, even though I heard him say he's got a rolling pin.
Make me a centering check then, please. We're only going to say difficulty 6.
Oh, that evil. What's centering when it's not centering, Ben?
Tenacity.
Tenacity. Oh, I should be good at that. Okay. 10 plus 2, because I've got plus 2 tenacity, so 12 in total.
In which case, that's a critical success, as it's 5 higher than you needed. You kind of just pull air into your lungs and just hold it there. I'm going to give you the opportunity to move and try and increase your stealth rating if you would like. As you did so well, I'll even give you a bonus to the flip.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, I'll do it then. So that's, again, so pull 2, pick the highest.
Pull 2, take the highest.
Cool. That's a 2. Well, they were both 2. I can't cheat the bonuses, can I?
Yeah, you can.
Oh, I can? Cool.
You can the only reason you can't cheat if you get a black joker pulled from the main deck, or if you are rolling with if you're drawing with a penalty, so you're picking multiple cards and taking the lowest.
Okay, but I can cheat when I'm picking the highest. Cool. Well, because they were both 2 and I have to take away 2 because you said it was cunning, wasn't it, first?
Yeah.
That would have been bad. So I'm going to play my trusty 11.
Okay.
Yeah, and then that's 9 for stealth. So
wonderful.
At least
you pick yourself up and just retreat a little bit deeper into the ship. You're sensible enough. You pick up your instrument and just kind of quietly sneak away from the spot you're in.
Mm-hmm.
Just going deeper and deeper into the vessel. A little further up, Subil. You kind of continue to follow along the right side of the ship, keeping yourself low, looking for signs of anything that could be going on. And as you kind of continue stealth walking, you can hear in the far distance, off to the left, you can hear kind of Jules making her way along. Upstairs, you hear a very kind of muffled shout of, "I got the door!"
Thanks, Billy!
And the kind of, as you hear those voices, they become more and more muffled, and the rocking of the ship slowly kind of shaking from side to side until a couple of seconds where it just seems to stop.
Jules?
Yeah.
Jules?
Yeah.
I don't think it's just a person
Your
in
mouth
here.
snaps shut.
Oh, Subil! Subil! Subil!
All them give me. And you just start feeling these cracks on your neck, as if the stone is trying to just loosely separate. Can I get you to make me a willpower test, please?
Can.
You are looking for a 14.
All right.
Subil, I swear to God, if you die in the first session, you spent so long making that character sheet.
Wish me luck then, I suppose.
That's not a good sign.
That's a 5.
Without meaning to, I'm going to check if you want to cheat that.
I am gonna cheat it.
Keep in mind, even if you can't beat it, failing by 5 or more is a critical failure.
Got it. In which case I will cheat. Do I show you what I'm cheating with?
Yes, please.
9. Can I do that?
Yeah, of course you can.
Good. In which case I have 2 willpower, so that's 11. Presumably.
You still fail, but not by a large degree. as you feel the stones starting to push apart, the voice just in the back of your head continues, and you start to feel your own throat kind of reverberating as your vocal cords try to move but can't push sound out through your lips. Speak. You and I are. And as you kind of hear that, the cracks on the stones continue, and you feel your neck just crick and crack backwards as your head is just propelled slightly backwards to the point where you know you can feel your spine straining, and it gets to the absolute zenith of its potential before just giving way, and the stones separate.
Oh.
And you just feel this emptiness between them.
Ah.
Your hands kind of just loosely pull up, just grasping at your throat, and you just feel them slip between the stones.
Oh,
and
God.
This cool feeling of mist slides down, and the feeling of something just reaching back as some fingers just interlock with yours and hold you there for a moment. We are strong. We are. And the mist just spreads out in front of you. You can see this kind of darkness spreading out into the area. Just watch as a small mirror that kind of just hangs nearby, just frosts over and the cool air just starts to recede, and again you feel your mouth weakening and starting to open again. The kind of tenseness that was holding them in place lackens, and your neck just starts to naturally pull back as this mist just disappears deeper into the ship. Your fingers are pushed free as the stones just naturally start to close around them again, and rather than feel them sever, you just feel this something akin to a nest of spiders rushing around inside, these fingertips and nails just nipping at the end of your fingers as you retract them away, and just kind of find yourself just kneeling on the floor in the ship as that small hanging mirror just holds there, completely frosted over, heavy glass shards now dripping from it onto the floor. And that coolness to the air gone, and that voice in the back of your head having faded somewhat. And you just stare at the ceiling, breathing in heady gulps of air. Jules, I should ask, what do you do upon hearing him just go snap, shut?
I would probably run over there. With pistol in hand and sword
Butcher's
cleaver.
knife. Yeah. You just start sprinting around the edge of the ship. From deeper in, Jules, Christian, Violet, you hear nothing other than a couple of exchanged words that are kind of somewhat muffled by the distance, and then silence and rapid footsteps that just echo out just through how hasty they are.
Mm-hmm.
Subil, from your perspective, as you kind of turn back, the moment your body is yours again, you hear footsteps rushing up behind you. And as you kind of turn, you see Jules appearing, pistol in one hand and cleaver in the other.
I'm gonna run and be like, Subil, you right? What's going on?
I need to go. I need to go.
Where?
Anywhere. Just not. I need to go. I'm gonna run. Sybil's gonna run back up to the surface of the deck. No, he's gonna go to his room. His room, because presumably he's gotten rid of all the reflections in his room over the last 3 days. Running straight there, no words. Just
pick yourself up and sprint away, literally just pushing Jules to one side without really much thought. Charge past her, rush around the edge of the kind of far end of the room, hit the stairs as you see Pele just kind of stopping. What's going on? As you charge past her up the stairs, round up, hit the last portion, scrap your hands around the door, and it just will not open.
Oh, come on.
Make unfortunately, there's no check you can do that will open it. You continue to turn the the bulkhead wheel, trying to push it open, and it just refuses to move in front of you. It just
Gonna start bashing at it. I need to get anywhere that I feel comfortable and safe away from that thing.
You just continue to slam. You take you take the rolling pin, smack it into the side of the wood, the metal even. It reverberates off, shaking in your hand. You feel it run through your arm. You smack it again, and you just hear as the tip of the rolling pin just flies off behind you. Meanwhile, as you continue to slam, Pele makes her way over to Jules. What's going on? What's wrong with him?
He needs some time to himself. He's struggling with PTSD. I think.
Them's be a lot of letters.
PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. What that means is when,
I thought it was
he
about
goes
the urinary.
through this, yeah. So if he does pee himself, that's normal. That's just what he does.
Is that what the P stands for?
No. That's post. No, he just pees himself when he's stressed. He's like a scared dog.
Oh, fair.
He's also got a weird thing about hands, but I think he got that from when he was a kid. So.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll send some nice hot soup up to his room after we're done, I guess.
Yes, miso. His favorite's miso soup.
What's that? As you start trying to explain that to her, and the two of you kind of keep moving deeper, and you realize how very little the cook knows about cooking. Right at the far end, having kind of heard all of this shouting, Violet, you're just kind of nestled behind one of your secondary stopping points, as it were. Just in case your first home got discovered, you had a second. It's not so much a home as a large box with a blanket in it, but it's about big enough for you to lie in.
I'm a very small person. I'd fit. It's fine.
And as you kind of just lean down, trying to hear what's going on from the long distance, you just start hearing this kind of cracking of something hitting metal very, very far off, and the slight echo of it. It's distant. It's difficult to hear. But just as you kind of hear it go, dum, 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 Violet?
I'm not going to say anything.
You just kind of sit up and then, Violet, why did you leave? As you hear your mother's voice just whispering into your ear. Which is where we're going to take a break. We'll be back in about 5-10 minutes all, and we'll see where we are from there. Hello and welcome back. Thank you for holding with us over the break. Hope that you have got as nice of a drink as everyone here has now. Mostly Max. I think we're all jealous of Max and his hot chocolate.
I have a hot chocolate.
I'm very jealous of his hot chocolate.
Really fancy a hot chocolate now. Sybil could do with a hot chocolate too.
It's also a heat mug, so you can tell how hot it is. It's like...
Look at you, showing off with your mug. Your mug.
Never been more
Mug
jealous
for
of
a
someone in
mug.
my life.
Yeah, yeah, mug.
So fancy. Right, let's bring the tone down. Everyone looks far too happy.
So
Violet.
I get my best.
Violet, you sit at the far end of the ballast chamber, nestled within the small box that you've stuffed with blankets and other bits and pieces, things to kind of hide in if needs be. But you've even left the lid nearby that could theoretically be pulled over and pushed back off if needs be. And as you sit there, kind of hearing the distant conversations of when a soup stops being a soup and becomes a stew in the far distance, and the occasional crack of something on metal slightly further away, once again you just hear, whispered somewhere nearby, "Violet, where are you?"
What to do? I don't know. Probably going to sink even more into the box because I'm scared if I look around, someone's going to be there with like a shotgun aiming at me or something.
You kind of just sink slightly, and the voice just creeps through again. "Violet, where are you?" And the kind of tone of your mother's voice continues just to run through your mind. You can hear it distant yet close somehow at the same time. Just as if just out of reach.
Mm-hmm.
"Help. Violet, they found us." "Where were you?"
I think at that point I'll kind of poke my head over a bit and just have a look, like worry literally just like etched on my face after hearing that.
You poke your head up over and just look to where you heard the voice coming from, and just on the far end, the light here being low as possible, the only real kind of eminent brightness coming from torches further down the walls and these kind of low hanging lights that hang above, you just see the briefest glimpse of a woman in a green dress step behind a series of boxes. Green dress, you remember. You've seen for years and years and years. You even see the small red flower that you made as a child and embroidered into the hem of her dress as it just disappears out of view.
I'm gonna get out the box and go investigate.
Just
keeping the case with me because if I need to, I can use it as like something to hit with. But I'm gonna go investigate and see what this is.
You step out, grabbing your case and just kind of keeping it nearby, and just take a few cautious steps. You reach the end of those boxes. You can still hear the voices off in the far distance, but they seem kind of muted and distant now. Well, even more so. You bring your eyes around and there's nothing there. Just the slow kind of shifting of some boxes, a small kind of tarp that blocks off a single part of the ship, just gently moving with the rocking of the vessel.
I guess I'll just take a moment, just go, kind of just think to myself,
"Violet!"
God. Oh, no.
A voice goes off in your ear. You feel the warmth of their breath on the side of your face.
Definitely.
The slight moisture. You jump, twist, and there's no one there.
Start kind of keeping my vision's where it is. Start kind of slowly trying to walk kind of away a bit, and then maybe turn and go back to my box because getting quite quite scared now, and definitely lack of sleep and everything that's happened isn't helping, and I just want to be in my box.
You kind of keep your eye on that long passageway and start stepping back and pushing yourself backwards towards the box. Of course, you can't really see where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask you for a notice check, please?
Mm-hmm.
Just difficulty 6.
I'm going off the AV, aren't we, for this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Correct.
That's a 4 in total then.
You just take a few steps back. Just kind of very cautiously. You don't notice whatever it is you kind of back into.
Mm-hmm. Does it feel?
There's a solid feeling of a person stood quite tall, quite broad.
Mm-hmm.
They don't react when you hit them. But you're just aware they're there. Your back is to their chest, and you can just feel the slow rise and fall of it, and their breath hanging on the air.
Well, this is, I guess, turn around, kind of keep a grip on the case, and then I guess maybe start running. Kind of like turn and start bolting, because I don't want to bolt into the darkness. Run really.
Are you gonna turn to face whatever it is before
I'm
you
gonna
run?
I'll start turning and then. Oh yeah, I'll turn to face. I'll turn face and then kind of just run.
You spin in place and there's nothing there.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Which kind of just gives you a moment of pause. Having, of course, fully expected to see someone there, you just stop for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
And just as you kind of glance around, you can see your box not too far away from you, the small light of the tiny lantern you have there. As a hand just falls on your shoulder. You left! Just growled in your father's voice. Make a willpower test for me, difficulty 10.
Oh, no, I don't like this game anymore. So I'll take your difficulty 10 and I'll give you a total of 15, because I have 4 willpower plus the 11 I just...
Nice.
Wow.
How would you like to react?
I'll kind of just close my eyes, completely just thinking this is just lack of sleep. Kind of just mutter going, it's fine, that they're fine. And then just try to get out from the hand and go to my box, and I'll kind of put the lid on, kind of thing.
You snap the hand away. You feel its grip pass. You even see a slight indent on your clothing where the dust has shifted. Just on there, you step away and leap into your box, grabbing the lid, pulling it over and slamming it shut in a single smooth motion. The moment you slam it over, all light fades. It's a closed environment. There's the warmth of the blankets around you.
Just get as small as I can and just literally hug my knees and just kind of start not silently moving my lips, like in my head. I'm just thinking, this is just a dream, they're fine, I just need to get proper sleep when I leave the ship, kind of thing. But just trying to convince myself that this was surely just a lack of sleep for obviously hiding on the boat. Probably wouldn't be sleeping so much anyway.
You hear, as you can just bring yourself in, wrap yourself in the wall, just hear this knocking regularly on the box, first from the left, then from the right, then above, then both, left, right, top, back, front, every direction at once, and it just kind of continues and continues and continues. You start feeling them beating along with your own heart. Make me a centering check. Difficulty 12.
I can't even remember what centering was. Oh, that's
tenacity.
Yeah. 7 plus 2, that's a 9. Could cheat it, but I'll just go with a 9. I'll save that in case I need it later on.
You kind of just you try your best to center yourself to block it out, and you can just still hear the banging, the endless tirade of what it sounds like to be fists. The fists, the beating, give way to clawing, to the sound of nails grinding on the wood, to the point where you can hear the slight sighs of pain as splinters work their way under nails. You hear a sickening as you see, through a small crack in the box, a hand just sliding across as a large chip of wood builds under a nail and just tears it clean off. You close your eyes, you force it away, and just hold there for a moment as they continue to beat and beat and beat and beat. You hear your own name screamed one last time. And then silence. You breathe deep. Inhale, exhale. The breath of your own breath just kind of pushes out, and you feel it run over your fingers. There's cool air to it. And the sounds stop. There's no sound of anything anymore. Just the groaning of the ship in the distance. Nothing. You're shivering now. Hard not to. You can feel your heart just pounding in your chest as you breathe. Again, in, out. And just try to relax. What do you do?
That's a good question. Oh god, I guess I'll just kind of take a moment to well, not a moment, maybe like a minute or so, just to kind of compose myself. Try to the best of my abilities, try to calm myself down, and then I don't want to stay in the box anymore. I think I'm actually just gonna rather risk my chances and kind of just maybe sneak my way back to the first hiding spot. I just want to get away from the dark areas I can, really. Yeah.
You just open your eyes, reach out and just start to push the box up and open. Light just kind of rushes back in, warmth follows it, and you start to very slowly and cautiously climb your way out. And as you kind of pass your eyes around the area nearby, you see nothing, just the moving shadows of the rolling kind of barrels and boxes. You can hear the voices in the distance gaining closer and closer, having
does
now...
the box look kind of, sorry for interrupting, but does the box
No, it's fine.
like it's been scratched out? Does it look like...
Absolutely fine, as if nothing had ever happened.
Okay, that's going in the mental notes for later. Yeah, I just...
You finally you inspect the box, breathe a sigh of relief, and as you stand, you see your mother stood directly across from you, just stood deathly still, a shadow, a woman behind her, dressed in a plain white robe, a fairly business-like dress directly beneath, and a slightly open button blouse on the top, the Inquisition's rose on the side, and this long black skirt. The woman behind, curled black hair, eyes like daggers, stands with a pistol to your mother's head. And you just please.
I was gonna fully I've literally seen my mother with a gun to her head. I don't care if it's hallucination. I would just run forward and try to push her out of the way.
You dart forward, and the moment your foot pushes any further than it is, a single shot rings out. You see the round penetrate and pierce the front of your mother's head. You watch her skull explode outwards in a shower of red and gore, and this imperceptibly passive look locked on the face of the woman behind, as if doing nothing more than stepping on a rat. You take another step, you watch your mother drop to her knees and fall forward, blood running down that pale green dress. And as you take another lunge forward, you drop down, grip at her clothes, stare up to see instead your father, smiling brightly at you. They found us, Violet. They found us. We need to hide. They know our faces. Here. He just reaches up and drives his thumbs in, and you just see him start peeling. Tears away the meat of his face. You watch as this flap of skin pull away, and his eyes, exposed muscle around, blood frosting up and freezing as it starts trying to pump out of fresh wounds, a skull-like grimace on his face as he just hands his face to you, wet and dripping. Take it. They can't know my face if I don't have one.
I just run, please. I just want to run away.
You immediately gain frightened 4. And you just stand, snap, twist, and charge away. Your instrument still clapped in your hands. You bolt around the corner, charge down the same passageway you saw minutes ago. Whatever's behind you is gone. There is nothing there. There is only momentum forwards. And as you round a corner, you run directly into 2 women discussing when bread is bread and bread is a roll.
Right, what I'm saying is a burger is still a sandwich.
No,
and again, what a burger is made up.
And at this point, Violet, you sprint around the corner into them. You are both hit by, well, please describe yourself briefly, Violet, in exactly the state you appear.
Exactly the state she appears?
Exactly the state you appear.
Wild, like, so Violet is kind of, she's like youngish looking, around like 19, like probably just turned 19, like still pretty like very young. Currently like wide, like fear, like all her, on her face and stuff. Her eyes wide, kind of hair's kind of same kind of color of a cook's actually, but like kind of like my length really. But like just like disheveled all over the place. Like a white death grip on the on her like instrument case, and just like clothes that look really disheveled, and I'm just like panting, and it's like I'm like panting and worried and crying as well. There's like tears like down my face. Yeah, that's Violet as she currently stands. Well, falls, whatever.
I guess I also haven't described my character either for the people this season.
Yeah, as Violet kind of falls back, getting a look at both of you, please describe how she sees Jules.
Jules is wearing a denim jumpsuit skirt kind of thing, a white kind of blouse that's popped open, and a push-up bra that is way too much, but guys don't notice the difference. She has beautiful, long, blonde, kind of curly hair. At the moment, she's got it all tied up by the back. Blue, piercing eyes, and very pale. She's about 5'8", 5'9", maybe. Not too tall. But yeah.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And Violet, that's what you see. Alongside the cook, who kind of steps back, Pelé just kind of gripping this tenderizer, looking at you, looking at Jules. That ain't no rat.
Stop!
Me or them?
I mean, I'm gonna get back up again and start trying to run off.
Stop! I'm gonna rugby tackle her.
Make an athletics check, both of you. We'll do this opposed. Jules, go first, followed by
I don't even have
Violet.
athletics.
And that'll be strength for that, or might. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have athletics, I have acrobatics, but I guess it'll be athletics. Might.
Mhm.
So that is 10.
And for Violet.
That is a 4 because I have no might.
You barely twist around before you take about 2 steps, and this denim-clad woman just charges over and rugby tackles you to the floor.
I've got one, my knee on the kind of spine of her back, and the gun against her head, and like the sword, the machete is well, and going, "What are you doing on our ship?"
Hold on, let me just get this image out of my head. It's like just gonna try to be like I'm guessing have I like fallen where like you said it's on the back of my neck, so I'm guessing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
so
you're
you're
kind
on
of
the
face down.
Yeah, okay. I'm just gonna try to like wiggle out and going, just get off me, please. I need to get out. I need to get out of here. Just get off me, please.
No. No. Who said you're in charge? You're in our hunt. You're here. You're in our ship. What are you doing?
The city was on fire. I needed to get out, and I need to get out of here before whatever just show me what I just saw. I just need to get out of here, please.
Would you be okay with being on the top deck?
I need to get out of below here.
What? Would you be okay with going on the top deck?
Yes. Okay, I'll be okay with going on the top
Good.
deck.
Now get up and slowly make your way to the top deck.
Are you gonna get off of me first?
Yeah. Sorry. I get up.
Yeah.
Jules is not very good at hostage taking. It's not really one of her fortes.
I'd genuinely be more worried if she was.
Yeah.
I kind of just.
This is Pele. I'm Jules.
I'll kind of.
Pele's kind of white knuckle holding the tenderizer,
Yeah.
having seen things gone from 0 to 100 to 0 to 100 and then back again.
I'll get up, like white, like also like still white knuckle, like on the case, visibly shaking, and just be like, I'm Violet. Like I'm not Fret.
You're not friendly.
I'm not a threat.
She's not friendly.
Oh, she's not friendly. No. Oh, sorry. You're not a threat.
I'm not
You're
a
not
threat.
a threat.
Okay.
It's, she kind of points the tenderizer at you.
Yeah. What's in the box?
You've been eating my peanuts.
I'm sorry. I was
Really,
hungry.
Pele?
I'm sorry.
Is
I'll
it
pay you
right
back.
now?
They're
Right now, we're
expensive.
talking about.
I was gonna pay you back. I swear. Okay. I just needed to get out. I was hurt.
What's in the box?
It's my violin. It's not a. I can.
You're a violinist. You never said.
It didn't really occur to me to say when you had your, like. I don't know why I'm doing your accent. But...
Right, yeah, my accent's been all over the world this session. I'm trying to get back in it. Calm down. Right, let's get you up to the docks,
Yeah.
The deck, so we can hear some of your music and hear what you gotta say.
Okay.
I put the weapons down and I put my hand out.
I'll kind of slowly put my free hand out and shake.
I will give you the toughest handshake you've ever had. Like, I want to kind of hurt your hand a little bit.
You start doing. I must be like, you just said you wanted to hear my music. You can't. Okay. Ow.
Right. This way. I'll make way. Pele, you get the back.
Nods a little bit as you start leading Violet away, and just kind of stood there, still pointing the tenderizer.
Pele, put it down.
I am very confused.
We've got over. Pele, where have you been?
Right here.
I feel like you're just not here, Pele.
Can we just get to the top of the ship, please?
I need to get you a cooking book. Right. Anyway, yeah. Let's get to the top.
Thank you.
You just start walking away and just not really knowing what to do. She kind of just drops the tenderizer to her side and just goes, "I need a drink." Meanwhile, on the top of the stairs, the rolling pin is little more than splinters now. having been slammed against the bulkhead or the door multiple times. You can see small dents in it, but nothing significant, nothing more than scratches and blemishes. And the door still refuses to move. And you've kind of just gripping it at this point.
I think at this point, Sybil's probably calming down, but giving up, and is just lying his back against the door in the hallway, just knocking his head a little bit, having a think, as always.
Mm-hmm. You just kind of clunk, clunk, clunk.
I'm imagining I can hear the commotion going down.
It's been hard past kind of the noise you've been making yourself at this point, trying to break through the door and the beating of your own heartbeat in your ears. But as you're kind of coming to rest now, you can hear voices growing closer, as well as footsteps. And it's just kind of getting closer and closer. And there's this kind of chill to the air again for you. You realize as you're there that you just release a long held breath and it just turns to mist in the air in front of you.
I don't like that. Sybil definitely doesn't like that. Sybil's gonna head on back up to the top deck now, kind of ignoring the voices he's hearing, because presumably he thinks it's probably still just Jules and the cook, and he's probably gonna head back up.
You once again kind of reach up for the bulkhead and it is still locked shut.
Oh, I thought that was the bulkhead to my door rather than...
No, this was the way out of this room. You haven't left the deck yet.
Left the... Wait, oh.
Pele locked the door because you asked her to.
Right.
You are still in the ballast deck, still beating your head against that door. You're kind of at this point reclining on the stairwell more than anything else. And kind of as you kind of your spatial awareness returns to you, you kind of just look down the stairs. Again, you see your breath misting in the air. And the stairwell essentially goes down, twists on itself, and heads into the ballast deck. So you kind of have to go down, twist, back on yourself, really. So you can't see into the ballast deck. There's this turn. And you kind of look at that as you see a finger just wrap itself around the side, followed by another and another and another. The hand just reaches past its very weak wrist, taking onto the step at the bottom, followed by another.
I'm just literally just going to shout just as loud as I can. Just fuck off! Already get... Oh!
You cover your eyes as you kind of push your hands through your hair, look up, and there's nothing there. There's just nothing sat at the bottom of the stairs. Nothing crawling, nothing urging towards you.
Okay. I'm presuming there's a lantern or some kind of light source.
Mm-hmm. There's one hanging on the wall next to you.
Yeah, I'm going to pick that one up, avoiding the reflections however well I can.
You reach up and grab it and start picking yourself up. And as you kind of take your hands out of your hair, you realize you can feel something pushing in the other direction.
You fucker.
As you snap your eyes up, they grip, pulling into your hair and just yanking your eyes back. They push down past your eyebrows, latch beneath your eyelids, and just pull them wide open. A singular red eye stares back at you. You can see grey skin rough, kind of rolling around it. You can see what should be solid skull and bone beneath, just undulating slightly, as if something is moving beneath it. And the eye just snaps around and locks into yours as two more slide open, as if there was a break, no kind of an incision in the skin.
What are you? What are you? You. No, you're not. How could you be me? You're not me.
The fingers rush past your face, grip your lips, and yank them open. Your mouth just kind of pulls out. The scream you try and push out immediately disappears as a hand rams down your throat. You feel something push past, gripping your tongue as multiple fingers just start running around the inside of your mouth and pulsating down your throat. You hold there for a moment, your eyes staring up into absolute blackness as you just see this torrent of movement moving past. You feel your throat bulge, you feel the obsidian start to break and crack. And a second later, it passes, whatever it is, disappears down your gullet, and you have nothing but the taste of iron in your mouth. You drop, hitting the side of the door, hitting the side of the wall, keeping yourself up only barely as that lantern swings in your hand. Your throat is in agony. You can feel your lips having been torn. You can taste blood in your mouth from small cuts and abrasions that have appeared in your throat and mouth. Your tongue has a small laceration running down the side of it, and you just hold yourself there for a moment. And I need you to make a willpower check, please, of 14 once again.
Oh, certainly try. Oh, man. That's yeah, that's an 8.
Your eyes you close your eyes and just try to kind of grip any semblance of yourself, but your body is just freezing. There is no strength to your limbs anymore, and you just kind of hold. And the voice returns, not in your head, not in your ears, but from your own mouth, as you feel your lips moving without your say so. Now and forever. Is this not better? Peace. I am your peace.
How much control do I have right now?
You speak the words and there is no response. And you again just feel strength slowly coming back to you. And as you kind of hang there, sending silhouettes of your own hand from the lantern down, there are footsteps that come up. As Jules, you lead Violet and Palais onto the stairwell.
Well, it's good that we have another female on the ship. I've been feeling a little bit overwhelmed. Right, Pele?
Yeah.
So, more the merrier. Oh, hi, Sybil. You're right. Oh, Sybil? What have you done here?
Can anyone open the door?
Yeah, Pele had the keys the whole time.
Could you could you open the door, Pele?
Palais just kind of goes, yeah, of course. I'm sorry, I didn't know you were gonna. I just did what you asked. I locked the door.
No, you did. Great job, Pele. Great job.
Could you open the door?
Yeah, of course. She just kind of makes her way up, just kind of squeezes past you a little bit and just pulls out this key, slides it into a small lock just next to the kind of wheel, clicks that, and just The door just creaks and slowly opens up.
Thank you.
After you. We're making our way to the top. We have a new guest. Meet Violet.
Hi.
Yeah. I'm not even going to clock it. I'm just going to go straight out the door.
Well, that's Subil. He's lovely when he's not like this. Annoyingly, though, he's usually like this.
I don't mean to be rude, but can we please have this conversation up
Yes,
top, please?
Sorry, just showing you around the ship. You've been here 2 days already, so I'm guessing you already know the place.
Yeah, I just kind of, oh, not, my God, air bubble, can you not? I'll kind of just like nod to Jules and then kind of just start making my way up. Kind of like Sybil just want to get straight out of this room.
Okay. You kind of just nod and make your way past, making your way kind of back into the hallway and up and around. And just as the four of you start kind of making your way back towards the deck, Pele just kind of loitering behind. I'm just going to head to the kitchen, see if I can't whip you guys something up, okay?
Well, we know,
Captain.
Pele, that Violet likes peanuts.
Yeah, we do.
And peanuts what? Always need to be salted.
I won't pepper them, she says, and turns the place and wanders off.
You know, Pele's a shit cook, but she puts the heart in it, you know, and that's all that matters.
And I'm just going to disappear for 1 moment. I'll be back in just a minute. I do apologize.
Like clickbait.
Hello, everyone. Sorry about that quick break. I just needed to go and deal with something in the house. Always the way, isn't it? The moment you don't want it, it happens. Right. As we were. So, we'll come back as Violet, Subil, and Jules. You kind of just hit the deck at this point, climbing up the stairs and into the open air on the other side. The first thing you notice, of course, is that night has fallen a lot more aggressively now. The small amount of light that was hanging in the air has faded, and there's nothing but black skies and starlight as far as the eye can see, twinkling across the water that lingers outside the ship, of course. You can hear noise just off on the side. Again, the kind of conversation of Max and Eli as they play whatever game they've engaged in. And on the far end, you can see Sam kind of sat on the edge of the ship, at the prow more precisely, as it kind of pushes off deeper and deeper into the night, and just sat with him, cross-legged, her hands kind of on her lap, talking in not so much a hushed tone, but in an intimate tone between them and Sam. You see Juliana. Violet you see the woman who shot your mother.
Knew this was coming, and it's. Oh, I thought it might have been her. Kind of just see her stop. I just stop dead, really.
Exactly. Thank you. Yeah.
Violet, you're right. Can we keep the line moving? It's only single file through here.
You know, I'm gonna go.
No, you're not. No, you don't. You don't own the ship.
Please,
No.
can I just go to this? Please,
I whip out the gun. Yeah, Violet, you don't. I like you. You're nice. You really are. But again, you don't have a leg to stand on. I'm gonna need you to get to the top, please.
I'll just kind of look down and start walking again and try not to kind of make eye contact with the woman who shot my mother in the head.
You step further out onto the deck, leading the way. Violet first, then of course Jules, and followed up by Subil. Again, the cool night air rushing over each of you. There's a kind of bristle of movement as you make yourselves fairly obvious. You glance over and you can see Max and Eli sat on small crates next to a barrel. A chessboard between the two of them. Multiple pieces missing from Max's side, and Eli having just kind of completely taken over the board. Across, Sam looks over, smiles, and then kind of has a slightly confused expression run over his face as he locks eyes onto Violet. And Juliana sees each of you, and an expression of not so much indifference, but exhaustion is very apparent on her features. She takes in each of your faces and stops again on Violet, and just, as Violet isn't looking up, you don't see this. Others, however, you realise that Juliana's doing much the same as she's done when you two met her in person. She seems to just be drinking in every detail on Violet to try and work out who are you, where have you come from, etc. And as she kind of pulls herself up and carries herself with the same wounded pride that she has been for the last few days, she just places a hand on Sam's back and starts to walk forward towards you.
Can I yell to the whole boat, being like,
Hello, everyone! This is Violet. She is a stowaway. She will be staying with us for another few nights until we get on dry land, and then we'll send her on her way.
Do you have to announce it to the whole ship?
Well, again, Violet, you don't have a leg to stand on. You shouldn't be on this boat. You have no idea who we are.
Needed to get away from the fire. Okay, I kind of didn't want to die.
You chose the wrong boat.
Yeah, pretty fucking obvious I chose the wrong boat.
You make your comments as Juliana reaches you. Sam kind of breaks away from her a little bit and rushes up to yourself, Jules. It kind of comes to the side of you, squirreling away from Violet. Who?
So, Violet is a violinist. Now,
What's a violin?
have you... I'm guessing you like music, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Now, a violin is a very beautiful piece of music. And if Violet wants to keep her stay on the boat, I think she must add to the keep like we do. Right, guys?
Can I glance past and you see Max has stood up off of the chair, or off of his little crate, and is just looking at her with this confused, again, a slightly confused, slightly interested expression.
We will at least need to see if you're any good there, Violet. Maybe hear some of your music.
Yeah, I guess. Give me a minute to set up, would you? I need to I haven't
course.
tuned it in a few days, that's all.
Of course. I get my jacket. I guess I'm not wearing a jacket. I'll find a blanket of some sort and place it in front of her. And so me and like Sam could sit next to her, like show times for kids or whatever.
Yeah. You just kind of set yourself up a little area. As you do, Juliana reaches and just stops directly in front of Violet. I'm sorry, who are you?
I'm Violet. I kind of... Look, I did something bad. I kind of jumped on the ship, but there was a fire at Southhood. I needed to get out of there. I'm sorry. I really am. I was gonna...
So you're a stowaway?
Yes, I'm sorry, okay? I was gonna pay you guys back for all the food that I was eating, and I wasn't eating that much, okay? It was just a couple of handfuls of peanuts every, 8 hours, maybe not even, maybe 10.
Where are you from?
I mean, kind of from all over. My parents, we traveled a lot. I don't really know.
Why?
We just like to travel. My dad liked to see the sights, really. He was a painter, so he liked to paint a lot. He painted everything in Chalice.
What were their names? Just a painter may know of him.
He wasn't too well known, but the names were... hold on, I wrote this down. I forgot. No, I remember now. The names were Nicholas and Penelope. They're just, random...
Last name?
Nobody. Parsons.
Can't say I've heard of them.
Like I said, that wasn't that well of an artist, but he loved this music, and he encouraged me to do my art when I got old enough, so sure, music isn't the same kind of art, but still, he encouraged it.
You feel her eyes kind of lock into yours, the same way they did on the back of your mother's head.
I'm just gonna try to not show, anything, and just, keep my eyes locked on hers. I'm not gonna show any weaknesses.
Make a centering check, then, please. It's going to be difficulty 8.
I'll take your 8 and I'll give you an 11.
You hold your composure. But you get the distinct impression that she either doesn't believe you or doesn't trust you, or some combination of the two. Well, I'd be interested to hear you play, Violet Parsons.
I'll kind of just put my case down, kneel down, get everything ready.
She steps away from you and glances across to yourself, Subil, rounding. You don't look well.
Have I looked well whenever you've seen me so far?
You look scared, Subil, and you're bleeding.
Just took a tumble, and I'm going to start slowly walking towards the back of the boat to try and lead her away from the rest of the group.
Mm-hmm. You go to start to move as she just takes a small handkerchief as she's pointing out you're bleeding and just wipes blood from the side of your mouth.
Don't like that. I'm going to pull away a little bit. Carry on walking around towards the back of the boat.
And just follows after you. I doubt the captain will be impressed you found a stowaway.
I mean, it's his boat. It's not my stowaway. No. Speaking of, I mean, do you care to enlighten us on who she may be?
I wish I could tell you. I don't recognize the names.
I think you might be smarter than that, but
I don't trust her. Travelers in Chalice who identify themselves as such are rarely simply that.
do we need to be wary around her?
Need to be wary around everyone, Subil.
Okay, what I'm saying is she a threat, or are we more of a threat to her?
I don't see her as a violent type. I could be wrong.
Well, then let's get her off this boat before we end up sealing her fate as part of this ragtag group of whatever we are.
We'll be making land tomorrow. She says as you continue to kind of loop around. As you kind of hit kind of midship, I'm going to ask Violet for a very quick. So double check the exact name of this. Music. Nice and simple.
Yeah.
Make me a quick music test. There is no difficulty. I simply want to see how well you do.
Ben,
Yes.
in this game, are we ever able to give other people their cards?
Unfortunately not.
Okay.
Speaking of which, we will reshuffle the deck, which will allow each of you to draw a new card.
Ooh.
Your maximum hand size for note is 5, so you can still draw if you've got less than that.
Nice.
I did pull the card before we reshuffle, so want to do it again? Or
Go for it.
Yeah, okay.
So how many cards should we have overall?
Whatever you had a second ago, +1.
Okay. 4, I think. I've
That's
not
fine.
used any of my cards.
Then it'll be 4.
Cool.
Instead of actually, no, I'll just use the one that I pulled before we shuffled anyway. So that was if that's okay with you.
It's fine.
Yep. So I pulled a 9, and with the meaty 5 I have in music, that's like a 14 if maths is right.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Gonna be a show.
She is, for
She does.
those of you around, I mean, please describe how you kind of settle yourself in.
So I'll kind of get the violin out, and once I've kind of made sure it's in like the right kind of tune, and I wish I could play violin, but I can't, so I'm not going to make a demonstration. You can kind of see like the second she has it like rest on her shoulder and like the bow in her hand, she just seems so comfortable and kind of just so like, there's a word that I should know because I do this for a living, and yeah, I can't remember it.
Just in
it's
the
like,
zone.
yeah, she's
Yeah.
just like in the zone, and she starts like performing like this really like kind of upbeat, happy kind of tune, because why not? It seems like people might need to dance after everything that's just happened. And you
Yeah.
can just tell that like her eyes are kind of closed, but you can just tell that like instead of her just doing the music, it's kind of like running through her kind of way, and it's just, you can just hear it. She's basically she's just really talented at the music that she does, and you can hear it in the way she plays. It's very emotionful, even though it's like really happy upbeat music. Yeah.
For both, in that case, for both Jules and Sam, you sit there and watch as she just disappears into her craft, as if she as a person melts away and merely becomes a passage for music. She simply seems to just pluck notes out of the air and string them together in masterful tune. It starts, as you say, quite steady. You just kind of get yourself into the position, and then the more you play, the more and more you disappear, and the music emanates out. And within moments, it's become this very warm, emotional, energetic sound. And Sam is just sat on the floor next to you, just quite happily bobbing, kind of clapping their hands together, and just tapping their hands on their knees. And it gets to the point as you keep going that he just stands up, grabbing your hands, Jules, and kind
And
of
dancing with
pulls
me.
you up with you. Exactly. And just starts dancing.
Yeah, definitely join in. I'd do a traditional kind of country swing
Mm-hmm.
to pick up the kid at any points of like.
You have a whole moment where you literally just pick Sam bodily
Basically.
up off his feet and swing him in place. You just see this look of abject joy and happiness spread over his features.
Of course, we pull in Max and Eli into the
Mhm.
group dance.
You kind of loop around. Eli is already kind of on his feet, having kind of come a little bit closer, just clapping along. This, again, smile that you haven't seen in days pulling across him. Whereas Max, on the chair, just grimaces. And as you come over and try and pull him in, he just brushes you off, stands, and walks away. Continue dancing around, spin, and you can even see above as you kind of clench your eyes up onto the top deck, onto the kind of wheelhouse. You see the surly expression of Lou leaning out of the window, tapping his finger on the windowsill in line with the kind of beat of your feet. And Giancarlo, the dark-skinned, kind of very thin, wiry-looking man, sat kind of a little bit further down, just whittling along on another piece of wood, smiling away and just enjoying the tune. Around the back of the ship at this point, of course, Subil, you and Juliana are more than aware of the sound. You can hear it kind of pulling away, along with these little shouts of joy and kind of half-hearted singing that's coming from at least a couple of voices. And the two of you just stand as far away from that as physically possible, resting on the rear of the ship, looking out in the direction of Southhurt. What's your plan then, Subil? What comes next?
Honestly, Juliana, I really wish I could tell you. What comes next is the next step, which is just followed by the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one. I quite honestly gave up planning any more than 2 or even 1 step ahead for this entire time because, well, you were always right on our tail, weren't you? So I don't know. We get off the boat and we carry on running until we don't have to run anymore.
Your friend, Kurt, he mentioned someone in town, a cobbler, I seem to remember. There's a callback. Can you remember a single sentence that came out last season?
Ooh. A cobbler. Juliana, Kurt said many things, and many of them not to me. If you mentioned a cobbler,
my mind wasn't as it should have been at the time, as you know. And you kind of get this dim memory of standing in an alleyway outside of the brothel. All 9 of you kind of, or more at that point. You, your whole group, Max, Eli, Kurt, everyone. And you distinctly remember he did mention a cobbler.
There was a group called the Barrelers, no? Or
Correct.
something like that. Yeah.
that was the plan to get out of Southhurt, but
No. He said in Juliana mentions as you say that in Morristown. It's why we're going there. Surely there was a cobbler in Morristown, one who had connections to the Barrelers. He might be able to smuggle us into Dis.
well, I suppose it's our only lead at this point. Everything else is just leg it as fast as we can from the Inquisitions and the Protectorate and the Wardens and anyone else that decides that they don't like us. If we can find this cobbler in Morristown, and if they really do have ways out of the city and out of the region unseen, then I don't see any other choice, do you?
Few others present themselves the way Traeger was when he left. I fear he may have given us some time before the others are on our tail. But the way that city was left, if there aren't more coming, I would be surprised. If you're aiming to get the child anywhere near Dis, then you'll need to take underground methods.
Are these methods known to the wider world?
She kind of shrugs and turns and just leans over the edge of the boat a little bit more. We had leads on the Barrelers at one point, but they very rarely bothered with channelers. They were more interested in smuggling their own goods, so they never deemed high enough on our lists. Wardens, maybe, but it's not the Inquisition. I'd say that maybe I could talk to someone there, but she kind of throws a hand up. Those bridges are burnt, like everything else.
We burn them everywhere we go, apparently. Well, if we're going to Morristown, we might as well look for this cobbler, but if the wardens or the protector or anyone knows that this cobbler exists, they'll probably expect us to go to the same place, so I suppose let's hope we get there first.
If it's not exactly anything that I can say I had a lead on, but I never looked. Maybe not.
Do you recognize any tip-offs, any signs, any, spots of ambush or of predetermined planning or anything? Please just, I suppose the least we can ask for is a heads up. Or the most we can ask for, either.
If I see it, I'll say it.
Thank you.
Morristown has a church, as they all do. So that doesn't mean necessarily inquisitorial presence, though. It could just be the priest. It's hard to say.
I sort of expect it wherever we go, to be honest. Seems to follow us. Yeah.
It will be fine.
Well,
we will work through it.
It'll be something.
You know my stakes. And you know what's expected now. You put everything else behind you.
I understand. I do. That's all we can do.
No more violence.
Not from me. And not from anything. Not from anything that we can avoid.
She just kind of turns to face you more directly. Promise me.
Juliana, you've seen those creatures. You know what we have to do. And I'm not putting anyone innocent in danger, and I'm not even putting anyone undeserving or even deserving in danger. It's not my job. But wherever we go, there is going to be inherent danger and risk and death, most likely, whether inflicted by us directly or indirectly. I can't promise anything other than I'm not gonna harm a soul. And that's all I can promise.
That's all I ask, Subil. Promise. Nothing else. Promise that you will, above all other things, try to do what is right.
Juliana, I think you might be the one person on this ship that knows me better than anyone else, and I barely know you, but hey, I think hopefully you'd know by now that I'm only ever trying to do what's right. It's not always the easiest decision to make, but I will promise that. But I hope I don't have to.
Good. She offers a single hand out and just holds it in front of her. Then I promise to do all I can to help you and that child.
I'm going to try and take her hand.
Roll me a centering check. Difficulty 8.
Difficulty 8. Can do.
Roll me. Flip me.
Flip me.
It's the only way I can think of wording it.
Happily, Ben. Happily. That's a 7 plus centering of 3 plus minus 2, so plus 1. It's tenacity, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's 8 total.
You reach out and just take her hand. She wraps her fingers around yours. They're warm. Soft. And together, with your friends. We'll do what we can to do some right in this world.
That's all we can do.
And for the first time in days, you see a small smile appear on her lips. As on the front of the ship, in the distance, as the music continues, you hear a small shout from above. Land ho!
Okay.
And those on the prow glance off into the distance where you can see, shining through the night, a single lit beacon. The flames that just kind of lick from the spire of a church in a town. Still fairly distant, but enough to know it's there. And even as the kind of music continues to kind of string along, you all feel this moment of kind of hope, of a sign of something coming, something positive. Swiftly followed by just that moment of elation mixed, of course, with that sudden moment of realizing just how late it is, and that kind of damning fall of exhaustion that just starts to take its way across your muscles. The shout comes out again from above, from Ginlarko. Might be time for everyone to go and get some sleep. Docking's not going to be simple. It's a small feckin' town.
Aye.
Go to bed.
I also ask, where's Sam sleeping?
Sam will basically stay with whomever chooses to have him in their room. He doesn't want his own.
Okay. By that point, probably, may I have Sam after that night out?
Of course you can.
Just because I think I'd need the comfort and also not want to sleep alone.
That's fair. You kind of, especially yourself, Violet, the music at that point, kind of with the shouts of everything else, you kind of come to that moment where you return to yourself out of this music. And
bravo!
I do a bit of a bow and be like, was that good? I kind of
That
don't really listen.
automatically meant you can stay.
Oh, that's actually really good.
Mind you,
because-
we don't have a bed, so it'll be straight back to the box. Right? Do we have another bed?
I can sleep on the deck. It's fine. I'll sleep
You
on the
want to
deck.
sleep on the deck?
I can't go back down there.
Eli just kind of goes, there's a room across from mine.
I'll take that one then if no one wants it.
Great.
No? Yeah.
Okay, here, I'll show you the way, he says, and just kind of steps up next to you and kind of half offers and starts just to lead you below deck off towards the
I'll
rooms.
go with him and go.
At which point you see kind of Max in the distance, just...
I was going to say to Sam, can I go off to the room? I'm going to chat to Max quickly because he seems pretty grumpy.
He kind of nods, smiles, and just says, just leans in a little bit. Can I make a fort?
If I don't come into my room and I don't see a fort, I'm going to be fuming.
Smiles and just bolts off. As you, from your perspective, Violet, you kind of hit the stairs as this kid just bolts between you and Eli and just scampers down the stairs into the lower deck.
Wow, energetic little boy that is. Okay.
Sam's good, Eli says. After you.
Oh, thanks. And I'll kind of smile at him and I'll just start going.
You're just led down to a room. At which point, Juliana kind of comes back around with Subil, bids you good night, heads down to her own, which leaves you seeing Jules as she kind of walks over towards Max.
I think I'm going to leave them to their conversation. Sybil's going to go to bed. It's been a long day.
Fair. In which case, Jules, you're kind of... Everyone makes their way below deck and leaves you just kind of stood there. You can see Max just sits himself back down next to the chess table, barrel with a board on it, and just starts re-racking the pieces.
I stand on the other side of the board, not saying a word.
He just puts the last few down and leaves the kind of puts all of the pieces on your side, all of the pieces on his. Sits there, placing his elbows on either side of the board, kind of fingers crossed and interlaced. Feel his eyes just kind of snap up towards you for a moment. They linger on you. It seems just very clearly kind of purse his lips. A swallow. Just reaches out and pushes one of the pawns forwards.
I'll push another one, and I'll say, Max.
We don't talk. Kurt said it always interrupted the game. As he pushes another one forward.
I liked Kurt. Push forwards.
Just another one. We all did. You spend the next few minutes playing through a couple of rounds, playing through a game. Make me an intellect check. Literally just draw a card and add your intellect value.
What's my intellect? 0.
Mathematics, if you happen to have it.
I don't, but I am going to use one of my cards.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a king.
You beat him.
Very good at chess.
Does that go back in the pack? Where does that go?
So that just gets discarded to the side.
Just discarded. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
You play around with him and not so much stomp him viciously, but make it very evident that he didn't really stand a chance in the first place.
And then at the end, I'll say, I win. And I could have had a conversation the whole time. But it was never about the conversation here, Max. I wanted to see you're okay. See if you're okay. And I can tell you're not, because honestly, you're a bit shit. And from someone as good as you, I expected a lot better. And I've seen Kurt play. And I will push the barrel to the side.
Mm-hmm.
And I will hug Max and start sobbing, like loud sobbing, like cry sobbing. And I will just, like, as loud as possible in his arms. And I don't expect him to even grasp me.
You kind of continue, you do exactly that. You wrap your arms around him and your body just convulses with tears. You feel him just kind of sat there, his arms just kind of pushed white knuckle into the table. As you slowly make me a bewitch check.
Bewitch check?
Or charm. Bewitch is a social skill.
Convince?
I'm gonna have to go by bewitch.
I don't have bewitch, so I'll
That's fine. It's just a charm test. It's only difficulty 6.
Well, it's 15.
He goes from this kind of white knuckle position, and as you go, you start to feel him kind of rise and fall. And as you kind of just look up at his face, you can see him pushing everything he can back inside, doing his damnness to keep his emotions in check, as you see tears just rolling down the side of his face, and see his face wrapped into a grimace as he just chokes down every tear that tries to push itself forward. And you watch him break. He shouldn't be gone. I should have stayed there. Should have protected him.
I should have done too.
He had kids. You just see him drive as a thumb and finger just kind of pushing into his eyes. You can see the tears bulging around them and just trickling onto the chessboard now, staining it. That's right. I should have let him.
Kurt wouldn't have let you stay.
Kind of pushes his hand back onto the table. He wouldn't let anyone stay.
Now, I would like to play with you one last time before I go to bed. And this time, I would like a conversation.
Kind of step back. He just nods and starts putting the pieces back in place with shaky hands as you sit down across from him. And he starts.
Let's see if I win again. Ace. So 1.
Yeah.
That's good. It was gonna either be 1 or I was gonna use a card to do 3.
I mean,
I wanted to lose.
The next game rolls over, and that time you lose. He kind of, with the first movement of the piece, he just kind of goes. He just starts talking. I generally thought it was the smoking that was going to get him.
Yep.
And the two of you just fall into a natural conversation. You start by talking about Kurt, and then
my main thing is just opening up about it and actually saying the words of the lost people.
Yeah. You hear him kind of going through other things, like he's fairly sure Bismarck got away, and I wonder where Jack went. And you two just continue talking until the point where you both struggle to stay awake. And then you keep talking. And when you eventually doze off, you do so sat on those barrels. And are just both leaning on the table, allowing the sun to slowly rise in the distance of the morning.
I was going to say if I wake in midnight or whatever, or just before morning, before people wake up, I want to sneak back and sneak in with Sam and act like I was there the whole night.
You make your way down nice and stealthily. It's not difficult. You kind of leave Max there, his arms wrapped on the table, his head kind of just pushed in between them.
I'd snuggle him up. I'd give a blanket while he's lying there.
Oh, easily. You make your way below deck. And disappearing around, you pass by everyone else's rooms, come to your own, open up the door, and inside you can see that your mattress, as much as it is a small, thin thing, pillows, blankets, and anything else you could see in that room has been gathered into a corner. And there's just this small slit where you can see Sam wrapped up, quite happily sleeping. A little smile on their face.
I'll sleep just outside of it.
You just settle in next to the bed, or next to the fort, and close your eyes.
Fort, yeah.
Yeah. And close your eyes and slowly drift off. Meanwhile, deep in the night, as each of you slowly drift off, there's the sound of footsteps that emanate through the ship. The short creaking of wood. The drone of metal grinding against metal as a door is slowly worked open. The sound of a sharpened knife gliding across the blade, and a slow drip, and a whistle a joyous sound, a happy workman's whistle, as a knife splits open. Sorry. I was holding that and then I saw Billy just go, oh. A knife slowly glides across the surface, splitting crimson and red across the pale surface that once held there. The whistle continues as with a wet something drops free and lands bodily on the floor. And as the whistle continues with just the sound of a blade working through meat and the slow drip, drip, drip of crimson staining a wooden floor. And that is where we are going to end for this evening.
I bet it's Juliana.
Who knows?
No, it's
Well, we know
very-
it's the cook, but like, who she killed?
Yeah,
I
but
think it's Juliana.
or it's the thing that's just killed the cook. I don't know. I'm just sad someone died.
I knew the whistling was annoying.
I knew that was a bad
Were all
sign.
sessions this consuming and terrible? I don't remember it being this bad.
This is the start of the season. This is season episode one.
Because there's less of us, it's more scary.
Yeah.
There's
'cause it's
more of
so
it
much
for
more
each of us
personal.
too.
Well, one way or the other, that is us finished for the evening. And thank you for sticking with us for our return to Chalice. And this time next week, we're returning not with these happy faces, but with 3 different.
Fine.
And
I rude your
the best of
requestiness
luck.
of the second episode, honestly.
Mm.
It's not in my
Good luck,
contract.
people.
And I really, really do hope that you join us for that and see how they react to everything that they come across. And then, of course, following that, return to this good ship to see what happens next. Before we go, and before we sign off, we just want to extend a wonderful thank you to our sponsors for the evening and for Initiative Order as a whole, whose information you can see down in chat and everywhere else. But first and foremost, I'd like to say thank you to Session Zero Clothing, Norse Foundry, Mithril Armory, and of course, Umbral Oculus Dice, as always. And before we say goodnight, well, I'll ask everyone else to say it first. Holly, please.
Yeah, that was it's so good to be back in Chalice. Honestly, so good. That was an amazing session. I still do music, apparently. I'm working on some stuff, so that's cool. I'll say that when I actually have the brains to actually plug my own stuff, but yeah. I don't know what I used to say here, so I'm just gonna stop now.
That's fair. It's fair. On the camera, Billy happened to be looking up in your direction on my screen, so we're just going to go straight to him next.
I'm trying to look at everyone as they speak. It's working.
Yeah,
I
no,
think.
I'm speaking to you, Billy.
Hell yeah!
I mean, it looks like you're looking at
you
me.
wait,
here,
wait your
Max,
turn. Wait your turn. Anyway,
all right, don't shout.
thanks for everyone for watching. That was really fun. First episode. Sybil's still alive. That's always a good start. I mean, to be honest, I don't think he's doing too well while being alive. So maybe it's not the best start, but we'll find out. I've been Billy. See you next week. Thanks for watching.
Thank you very much. And of course, finally, Max.
Yeah, hi, I'm Max. You can find me on Instagram at YallopMax. But yeah, it's really nice to be back here and just I'd missed D&D. I've just missed it.
Yeah.
I'm glad. And as ever, and unfortunately as ever, I'm Ben, You can find me anywhere and everywhere at Try Again Ben, or you can just wander over to the good people at Modiphius, where I happen to work and make things for fun. That's what they keep telling me. That's what I keep telling myself. And I will also be here, of course, next week to lead our next foray into fear. Thank you very much, and good night. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.